Hey, welcome to World Entertainment, and it looks like 2026 has its first major flop. That being Maggie Gyllenhaal's The Bride. A movie that this video isn't just going to talk about, we're going to review it because, yes, I watched this movie. I wish I didn't. But its opening weekend, they were estimating upwards domestically of something like 20-25 million. And then that got revised down to like 15 million. And then they revised it down to between 9 and 10 million. It opened domestically at $7 million. If you think that's bad, internationally, it opened with $6 million for a grand total of $13 million. A movie that they were saying could open worldwide with upwards of $45 to $50 million. Yeah. This thing has tanked. In fact, it hasn't just tanked in terms of what it brought in. It actually came in fourth. That's right, fourth in the box office charts. Behind newcomers Hoppers, Scream 7 still did better than it. Goat did better than it. This movie was a disaster. And here's the thing. Most movies, even when they are opening as a disaster, it's normally, it kind of just does mid-par numbers, whatever, and then by the Monday it drops off. The preview night, it only brought in $1 million, and they were estimating $9 million for the preview night. So it brought in $1 million on preview night, meaning it only brought in $2 million on the Friday, because the $3 million on the Friday that you'll see is including the preview night. But the trend was bad because it went down and then down again. And you normally see it go the other way. It normally goes up. And then by the Monday, it drops. So without the preview night, Friday, 3 million. Saturday, which is normally where they go up, it went down to 2.5. And then Sunday, the estimates say it brought in 1.7. So you're seeing how badly it's gone down. We're looking at this movie probably having a Monday of under $1 million. So that's not good. So the articles, by the way, are ripping this thing apart for the most part. There's a couple out there like the Mary Sue that says they love this movie, but everyone else is shitting on this movie. So have a look at a bit of an article, and then it'll give you the review for this garbage fest of a movie, which I'm kind of giving away the review. It says Hollywood's latest attempt to turn a classic horror property into a modern political statement appears to have backfired spectacularly. According to a report from Variety, director Maggie Gyllenhaal's feminist reinterpretation of the classic monster story, The Bride, collapsed at the box office with a disastrous 7.3 million opening weekend from over 3,300 theaters. Now, again, keep in mind that's 7.3. That's not worldwide, that's domestic. So, from a film carrying a reported $90 million budget, the result is catastrophic when marketing costs estimated around $65 million. And standard theater revenue splits are factored in, the movie would likely need to generate well north of $300 million worldwide just to break even. Instead, the film's global total currently sits at roughly $13.6 million, making it one of the earliest major box office bombs of 2026. The Warner Brothers film was marketed as a radical reimagining of the classic monster story originally introduced in Frankenstein and later popularized in the iconic Bride of Frankenstein. Starring Christian Bale as Frankenstein's monster and Jessie Buckley as the resurrected bride, the movie was pitched by Hollywood media outlets as part of a wave of feminist horror. And that is the problem. This thing should have been made in 2016, not 2026, because it is a feminist nightmare. Now, this movie, and you've probably seen some reviews that have pointed this out. The first one I saw, and the only one I saw until I watched the movie myself, was Jeremy Johns, who said the movie tries to be Joker folie à deux. My God, when you watch the movie, how he hit the nail on the head with that one. It doesn't just want to be that movie, it wants to be the first Joker as well. The part that really sticks out to being wanting to be the first Joker is, as we know, Joker starts inspiring people to take up clown masks and start, revolting against the government and authority and stuff like that. Same thing happens here, however, it's a feminist movement where all these women start not just causing riots and stuff, but arm themselves with guns. They put their makeup on their face as the same stain that's on the bride's face, and they scream something like the brains or something like that whilst they're running around, and it's like, oh my good God. So a woman revolution starts, and it's like you realize you're moralizing the pure evilness of these people. It's like, okay, but it still even tries to throw in modern day bullshit in there, because when that scene happens where they're showing the women are revolting against the men, and it's against the men, by the way, that they're revolting against, and they start painting they have 3 women standing together that they paint out to say, look, this is the movement, this is women. You got your standard white woman, then you got a big fat woman, and then a black woman, and it's like, okay, so you're really just shoving in not just your political feminist messaging, but your DEI type of messaging as well. Gotcha. And it's like, good God. The movie opens, okay, and this is where you start going like, what the hell? So it opens in black and white, but you're with Jessie Buckley, but she's not the bride. She's in fact Mary Shelley. Yep, she's portrayed as Mary Shelley, and Mary Shelley seems to be some sort of consciousness that speaks throughout the movie, through the bride. Yet she's trying to figure out who the bride would be and how women must fight back and blah blah blah, and then possesses this woman, Ida, I think her name was. She goes through multiple names in this movie, so her actual name is meant to be Ida, I'm pretty sure. But when she's resurrected, she has the name Penelope, but she calls herself Pretty Penny, and then obviously she's the bride. So it's like, okay, that's a lot of names. Which one do you keep track of? So she starts getting possessed in a restaurant, and she flips, and she does this throughout the entire movie, where she's talking and then breaks into this British accent, and she's Mary Shelley, and Mary Shelley's like, fight back and blah blah blah. And it's like, what is going on? So you have the author of the book speaking through the bride in the movie that is referencing the books, but it's also actually happening. So because she's having this weird spaz out, the guy she's with starts slapping her and push her down the stairs, which kills her, which we are then introduced to Frankie. And Frankie is Frankenstein's monster, Christian Bale, who did adopt the name Frankenstein, but he calls himself Frankie. So he's lonely, he wants a bride, he goes to a mad scientist who's played by Annette Bening, because of course it is, and he's like, I'm lonely, and all she brings up is sex. It's like, oh, so you just want someone to plow, basically, and all this type of stuff. It's like, is this really where we're going? But he freaks out, they dig her up. But by the way, you never see them choosing a gravesite, anything like that. You don't even see her getting buried and the repercussions of being pushed down these stairs, because it's immediately the next scene she's being dug up and she's still wearing the same shit she was when she was pushed down the stairs. But they bring her back. The mark on her face, the makeup, whatever the solution is that they pump through her to resurrect her, she coughs up and it hits her face and it stains her. So it stains the skin. That's why she has that design on her face. It's on her fingers as well and stuff like that. It's this dye stuff or something that is solution, and it stains her skin, which I thought was hilarious. It's like, oh, so it stains the skin, but her teeth perfectly white. Gotcha. It just turns, once she's resurrected, it turns into a mess of a movie. Singy, dancey sings keep breaking out. Frankie is obsessed with this movie star who's played by Jake Gyllenhaal, who he keeps going to see his movies and stuff, and then he's been following, once he has the bride, they're following the locations of the movies where they were set and stuff. It's weird. Then you get a side story with two detectives, which is Penelope Cruz and I'm not sure what the other guy's name is, like Scallingard or something. Peter, I think. Peter Scallingard or something like that. Their whole story is fucking gobbledygook nonsense. It seriously is. It's basically Penelope Cruz is supposed to be this guy's secretary, possibly, but she's the one coming up with all the ideas and stuff. He keeps saying she's a secretary, but she's saying she's a detective, so what she actually is, don't know. The guy, turns out, has a connection to Ida. He resigns, gives his commission. He resigned on the basis that he could give whoever he wanted his badge and make detective, and of course he gives it to Penelope Cruz, who's meant to be this genius, and all she did was find a piece of paper. That was it. It was like, okay. And their whole story just kind of comes out of nowhere and goes nowhere, and you realize that every woman in this movie is evil. And that's the thing, they're trying to paint it as woman strong, woman good, man bad, and yet every woman in this movie is evil. How? Well, obviously, they set up that all the women start revolting and shooting people. So, yeah, the bride is obviously horrible and evil. She's shooting and killing innocent people. But no one ever shoots her. It's like, oh, and all the guys, multiple times in this movie, try and grape her. Yeah, so once she's resurrected, they go to, like, it seems like a gay bar, because there's tons of guys dressed as women and stuff, but there's also women there. It's definitely some sort of fetish bar, because the guy that's serving Frankie is a dude in a dress. He's dressed like a maid or something. It's like, what the fuck? But guys in the middle of the dance floor try and grape the bride, and then when they leave, two of them chase them down and try and grape her again, and Frankie loses it and kills them. And then you realize there's a crap ton of people just standing there watching. It's like, okay. A cop tries to do it to her later in the movie. They go to a packed cinema to watch a movie, and there's a guy in front of them with a girl, and he's trying to grape her in the middle of a cinema where she's screaming out like no, and he's still going for it, and the bride has to snap at them. And then they're in the wrong because the guy is like, oh my god, it's the monsters. And it's like, okay. So there's a lot of that. And apparently Maggie Gyllenhaal had tons of that in there. And Warner Brothers actually told her, rein that in. You know, this is too much. Rein that in. It's like, what in the name of Christ? So she's trying to murder everybody. And yet it's Frankie that they keep shooting and stuff. The scientist, the mad scientist, obviously is Annette Bening, and she's nuts and evil as well. Penelope Cruz turns out is evil because she lets her resurrect the bride and Frankie by the end of the movie. It's like, what is going on? So the feminist message is, be evil. It's like, okay, gotcha. You know, it's mad. And then the messaging in here, like, it's throughout the entire movie, but there's a guy. Now, I don't understand what this part was, because it's here and it's gone and it's never brought up again. There's a guy at the beginning. He's the Russian dude who is in Wonder Man. He's the guy who's meant to be the director. He's in this very briefly. He's at the start sitting at a bar. What we do find out later, by the way, this all comes about just in quick passing, and it's like, wait, what? So it turns out that Ida, the bride, was actually a CI for the detective, the male detective, but he ended up sleeping with her, apparently. But she was in there trying to get information about the Russian dude, because it turns out he's killing women, cutting their tongues out. And obviously the message is that he's silencing women. That's the message you're supposed to get. Why? Because not just are you told he's cutting the tongues out of women, there's the only other scene we have with him, which is in the third act of the movie, is him sitting there telling the two guys who actually managed to kill her that she's still alive and they have to take care of her. And behind him is a row of jars, like jars upon jars, filled with all the women's tongues. And I don't mean each jar has a tongue in it. I mean each jar has about 50 tongues in them. So it's like, oh, so there's your messaging that men try and silence women, and yeah. And that's it for him. And that whole story arc. It's like, what was the point of that? You know, when you watch old movies, even vanity projects, where they film like an entire driving scene, or you get to watch somebody walk somewhere and you get to watch them do the full walk, and it hits you. You've put that in there just to fill out the runtime. Exact same thing in this. There is tons of shit in here that is just simply filling out the runtime. The dance scenes and stuff that really try and make it follow a do are ridiculous. They just break out of nowhere and stuff. The movie is a disaster. It's an absolute unwatchable disaster. I would not recommend anybody go near this movie, but if you have, do let me know what you think about it. There's not a hell of a lot more to say about it. It's just horrible. A horrible message, horrible directing, horrible. Oh, it's just. And the fact that she keeps breaking out from being the bride to Mary Shelley, and it's, oh my god, it's meant to be this artistic shit, and it's just shit. So that's the review, and that's the story of its box office. So with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like and share and subscribe and all that good stuff. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.